When it comes to stopping drinking alcohol, the first 24 hours can either make or break you. If you do the wrong thing in the first 24 hours, stopping drinking is going to be more difficult and the chance of you relapsing further down the line increases dramatically. But if you nail the first 24 hours, if you do the 4 things I'm going to break down for you in this video today, I can promise you with 100% certainty that stopping drinking will be so much easier. And not only will it be easier, the chance of you actually succeeding is just so much more likely. And the 4 things that I'm going to break down for you in this video are exactly what I did in the first 24 hours of stopping drinking, and I've not drank now for 6 years. And it's something that I teach to my clients that I work with in the Sober Clear coaching program. I've worked with over 400 clients, I've shown this to them, and today I'm going to give it you all totally for free. So for those of you that are new here, my name is Leon Sylvester. I drank alcohol for around about 10 years. It pretty much destroyed my entire life. And for the past 6 years, I haven't touched a drop. I've had no desire to drink. I've not gone to AA meetings and I didn't use willpower. And since then, I've been making content. I've been sharing my message on the internet. In total, I've reached over 20 million people, all by sharing a completely different way of doing things. That's not the typical mainstream way of stopping drinking. Now, I have had probably 50 times where I've gone 24 hours without drinking. So during the 10 years that I drank for, I've done a 24-hour period without drinking 100 times. I've tried to stop and start drinking for most of my adult life. So when it comes to the first 24 hours without drinking, I have got a lot of experience. So in the first 24 hours, I need to get one thing out of the way. But if you have any fear of withdrawal, I want to say that for most people, it's totally fine. But if you are worried, then a YouTube video might not be the best way for you to get advice. You might need personalized advice from a doctor, from a health professional. So if you're really worried about DTs or serious withdrawal, then go and find medical help. But that being said, the 99% of the population that won't need medical help, that's kind of who I'm making this video for. So let's break those 4 things down for you right now. The first thing is going to sound totally counterintuitive, but I remember when I used to try and stop drinking alcohol during all the failed attempts is I'd stop drinking and then what I'd do is I'd hide. And what I mean by hide is that I wouldn't say yes to a friend that invited me to go out. I wouldn't, go past a bar, or sometimes I'd go into a supermarket and I would avoid the alcohol aisle. I wouldn't even dare go down it with just pure fear that, the alcohol was going to jump out and make me buy it, right? I know that sounds a bit silly, but what I used to do is I used to avoid alcohol like the plague. So what do you think happens to somebody's mindset who is hell-bent on avoiding alcohol no matter what? Well, what is actually happening and what they're subcommunicating to themselves is that they're missing out on something, so they need to kind of stay away from it because it still has a pull. Whereas these days, I can go to a bar. I've gone to dozens of bars. I've been around people that have drank probably 100 times, more than 100 times since stopping drinking, yet I have zero desire to drink it. Well, the difference is that I got into the right state of mind where I don't want to drink anymore. And if you actually want to learn how to do that, you can click the link in the description and there'll be a free video training that shows you a new method to actually control your drinking. That's something that I don't publish on YouTube. The only way you can get access to that training is by clicking the link in the description. So you definitely want to check that out. That's more about reframing your thought patterns and changing your belief systems using first principles thinking. But the first thing that I recommend doing within the first 24, maybe 48 hours, depending on how you feel in the first 24 hours physically, but my recommendation is for you to get around alcohol. You might have heard people talk about this in stop drinking books out there, but to me, it makes 100% perfect sense. Go to a place that serves alcohol, sit there, go with a friend, go and have a meal in a restaurant where, there's bottles of wine everywhere. Go and watch a sports game in a bar. Go and do something, but go to an environment with alcohol in it. And I'll tell you why this is a good idea. Let's say that there was a sports game on that you really wanted to watch, but you had to go to a place where everybody was smoking grass. And I mean literal grass from a park, right? Everybody sat there, they're smoking this grass. It doesn't smell, it doesn't really disturb you in any way, but you had to go to a bar where that's what everyone was doing. Would you be afraid to go? Would you think, I better not go there in case I want to smoke that grass? No, you'd go there and you'd watch the game and you'd enjoy yourself. And by going there, what you'd probably do is go, man, these people are crazy. Why the heck are they taking that grass? What are they doing with their lives? And if you can go to a bar or an establishment or a restaurant where everybody's drinking and you can go there, sit there, feel confident in your decision to not drink alcohol, watch people drink and think, why on earth was I doing that for so long? That's not going to be a thing that gets you off track. If anything, it's going to strengthen your decision because your mindset is going to be in the right place. And I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it can also be one of the most powerful things you can do to strengthen your decision to not drink. So the second thing is going to be a a little bit strange, but when we drink alcohol, there's a lot of dopamine that gets released when we drink that drug. And it's why sometimes, you might have some really hard task that needs doing with your business, with your career. Maybe there's a decision that you're supposed to make and you keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And every time you put it off, you drink, right? It's like this escapism that you keep going through. And what ends up happening is rather than associating dopamine with doing something like a hard workout, doing something like eating a nutritious meal, doing something that progresses your life, we just start to associate dopamine with drinking alcohol. And it's this very short-term gratification of take drug, feel okay, take drug, feel okay, get all this chaos and all of these unmade decisions just brewing up in the background, but we keep this cycle of escapism. What you don't want to do when you stop drinking in those first 24, 48 hours is immediately change the drug addiction and channel that short-term dopamine gratification that you've been doing. You don't want to immediately channel that into some other drug, some other substance, some other way of escaping, pornography, video games. You don't want to start channeling that into something else. Okay, listen, I'll be honest. The first 24 hours, people are going to want a bit of extra sugar, right? And they might feel like just lounging around and watching movies. But you don't want to keep that going for the long term. It'll take some time for your dopamine levels to reset. But what we really want to start doing is start associating our dopamine with long-term goals. So instead of that short-term hit that we've been used to for a long time, that first week that we don't drink can feel a little bit strange. It can feel a little bit boring. But eventually, the boredom will subside and then you'll start taking action in the right direction, which leads me into the third thing. What you want to do as soon as you stop drinking alcohol in those first 24 hours is get yourself a pen and paper and ask yourself, what do you actually want? What do you want with your life? Every time that I've gone a prolonged period without drinking alcohol, I sat down and asked myself this question. It's such a shame, but I've lost this piece of paper, but there was a time where I stopped drinking for 7, 8, 9 months. I can't remember the exact dates, but I remember I woke up after throwing up blood on a MacBook Pro. I destroyed my MacBook and I woke up and I was just, so stressed, it was just the worst day of my life. And I remember it so clearly. I remember I wanted to start a personal training business, right? This was my goal at the time. It was something that I wanted to do. And when I stopped drinking alcohol, I started writing down, okay, if I was a successful personal trainer, what would I be like? And I wrote down that I'd be more extroverted. I'd smile at people more. I'd approach people in a gym. I'd work in a gym. I'd take care of myself. I wouldn't drink alcohol. I wouldn't take drugs. I wouldn't do anything like that. I'd be eating the right kind of foods. And I basically designed this character of who I had to become to build this personal training business. And then I just started aligning with this character, but now I had some kind of vision, right? I had some ideal version of myself that I was trying to become. That's who I was trying to step into, and that's how I was trying to level up my life. And I recommend this for you as well. I recommend sitting down, asking yourself, what's the goal? What's the objective? What do you want? And then asking yourself, who do you need to be to get what you want? Because I can almost guarantee that drinking alcohol will not align with who you really want to be. Which leads me to the fourth and most important step of all. As soon as you've got that vision, as soon as you've written it down and decided who you want to be next, take action now. Maybe for you, the version of you that's kicking ass, that's, making millions, that's in perfect shape, that's doing all the things that you want to do. Maybe that version of you has a coach. If you want information on stop drinking coaching, just head over to soberclear.com. You can look at the website, you can look at how we work with people. Maybe for you, it's a personal trainer. Maybe you're working directly with a coach, with some kind of business coach maybe. But whatever it is, as soon as you've got that vision of who you want to be, do something now. Take one step in that direction. Don't sit on it. Don't wait around for tomorrow. Don't wait for some perfect moment. Do something now. And if you click the video on the screen now, you can learn more about the first week without drinking.